On the road. Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on Arch Talk 101, the podcast. And we have Justin on the line with us. We're going to talk to him about his ventures in archery. Before we do that, I want to just remind everybody you can catch the podcast wherever podcasts are put out, as well as audible.com. And if you want to see the video, see our nice faces and see what we're talking about, you can watch it on the Arch Talk 101 Facebook group, or you can go out to my YouTube channel, Learn to Fix It Yourself, and we record them live in on my profile, and it only stays out there a little bit. But other than that, so let's get back into the show. Justin, how about you introduce yourself and tell us a little something about you?
My name's Justin Parrish. I grew up in the Panhandle of Texas. I spent 10 years in the Air Force and then ended up coming back here. Now I live in Amarillo. So that's,
Start in Texas, go to basic training in Texas, and then come back to Texas.
well, after basic training, I spent time in California. I think I hit most of the stands. Then I had South Korea, then Utah, and then back to Texas.
Yeah, I spent my whole Air Force career in Texas. After basic, I went to Dice Air Force Base in Abilene, Texas.
Oh, nice. Yeah, honestly, I tried to get back to Texas and I tried to get Cannon Air Force Base in Clovis. And I never could. I got Vandenberg Air Force Base, Hill Air Force Base, and Osan Air Base in South Korea.
Yeah, I didn't put it for anything down south, and I definitely didn't put in for Offutt here in Omaha. I did not want to get stationed at Offutt. I'm from here. So where'd I go? Go to Texas. Like, oh, it's okay. That was in the 70s, the mid 70s.
Yeah, so I enlisted in 2000, and then I got medically retired in 2010. But I was actually in Saudi Arabia when 9/11 happened. So I was at Prince Sultan Air Base, and everywhere you walked around our base, it said Bin Laden Construction Company because Osama bin Laden's dad built our base.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was a little bit of a wild time. So sirens going off, nobody knew what to do. Um, because yeah, that's the first time America's really been attacked since Pearl Harbor, so it, it was a little different. Everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and we ended up working. I want to say it was like 21 days straight, um, 14-hour shifts. I worked mids. I was security forces, so I had to carry a gun everywhere I went. It was a long month.
yeah, it was. I was graphics, and then they sent me TDY to Security Police Squadron. So then I had carry a gun, watching the gates, and marching around airplanes all night long when they had some alerts and stuff, and kind of interesting. You just walking around all these B-52s loaded with nukes and C-130s carrying an M16.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And my job was drawing pictures and doing graphs and charts. That was my job. But no, they sent me there, and it's like, oh, where am I gonna go? Right here. It's like, oh man, I didn't get to go a different base.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, that was interesting. Interesting times down there in Abilene, Texas, with all the bugs they had, and we couldn't use our mace because most of them were empty.
Yeah.
Macing all the bugs and carrying
We
around a little 38 revolver with round nose bullets in it. And
Yeah, there's a couple people that had we call them maximum discharges of their pepper spray because by the time I was in, we converted it's called oleoresin capsicum OC pepper spray,
yeah.
and there's a couple people getting in patrol cars if the safety had come off, and they'd get in and spray everybody in the vehicle. But
That's no fun.
no, it takes a while for that to air out too.
Yeah, I know before they let us carry us, you had to get qualified. Well, which meant
Well, yeah,
you
you have to get
roll your
scaled.
sleeves up, and they just sprayed our arms. But oh man, that
Oh,
was bad enough just getting the arms sprayed. It's like your eyes are watering, and it's you can't get your arm far enough away. And this is don't ever rub your eyes when you get in there. It's the worst thing you can do. And
we had to get sprayed and fight. Uh, when I got certified, we got sprayed with stuff that was like best way to describe it is like shaving cream consistency. It was riot control. It was in like a little miniature fire extinguisher looking thing,
oh yeah,
and they hit us with that. and like it was sticking up. You could scrape it off your face. And then you had people come after you trying to take your. We had like the blue guns, the red guns, the training stuff. They were
Yeah,
coming to try to take your weapon. You had to fight them off while also getting away, to be able to radio in for help, like simulate. So, I mean, we
yeah,
were
that
having like a small fist fight, elbowing people while your eyes were burning. And it's pretty miserable. I never want to get pepper sprayed again.
yeah, yeah. Anybody that's ever had anything to do with it, when it's under controlled environment, it's like you don't want to get those when you're not in control. And
No.
I carry a different one now. I figure, if you're out, that's something, besides your martial arts training, which I've had, for almost 20 years. And then, of course, now I'm a bit older and I don't think I could do the falls anymore, but, I always carry that with me because it's someplace you can carry any place. This is no weapons. Well, that's not really a weapon, so you can carry it in places, so that you have it as another
Yeah.
option, instead of, if you're carrying a gun or something, and that gives you three options. And the last one is the pulling the gun out.
Oh, for
And
sure.
yeah, that's the last one you want to do. That's when you're either going to be dead or you use it, and that's the last thing. And a lot of times I had a my dad's girlfriend at the time. His son was a police officer down in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and he was up and was talking about different stuff. The ranges you can be before um, before drawing your gun is worthless. And I says, okay, at this distance, you can't draw your weapon. And so to prove the point, it's like all I had to do is pretend to draw it. No, I aborted it as soon as he come at me. I aborted it to my training. It's like that's much quicker. With
Hmm.
time you reach for a gun and fake to pull it, and they're never fast draws, so it's not like you see the faster guys. They're leaning, almost laying down, and the gun comes out just a fraction and goes off, and it's like just fractions of a second the first round goes off, and we're not doing that. Our holsters are designed to trap the handgun and keep it in place.
I think it's 21 feet that is there.
Yeah,
I
yeah, if
guess
they're
there's a, if you're doing a non-retention holster, I think they got it down to 14 feet, 15 feet. I can't remember, to be honest.
yeah, mine is just it's a pressure fit one. It's
Oh, like the
I can,
Catletics.
yeah. Well, it's not a cat. It's a soft one, so reholstering is a challenge
Oh,
because it collapses and you can't get that back in there. So the easiest way to do it is just unclip it, pull it out, put it back in the holster, and put it back in. That's the
I
fastest way to reholster. But
I got away from using leather holsters because leather wears down and gets soft and subtle. And there was a when so I ended up becoming combat arms. I was a weapon instructor, so I taught people to shoot and qualify firearm safety, all that stuff. And one of the things was we used to get reports like accidental discharge reports all the time. And I remember one specific report was a guy was returning, I want to say it was a Glock to a leather holster, and that leather caught the trigger. And Glock's got the safety on a Glock is the trigger. And he was putting it back in that holster, and the leather caught it, shut it off, shot himself in the leg.
yeah, they call it a safety, but it's not a safety because the trigger is not a safety. Under no condition is it really a safety.
No,
It allows you so that you can't push from the side of it. You have to put your finger on it. Well, if
hmm
you're putting in something catches, it's going to catch that and compress it anyway. So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, how does I know we're talking about archery today once we get to it, but um, how's the training you have done with firearms, whether it be handgun, rifles, shotguns, um, correlate to your archery training?
Um, so like the breath control. Um, so for instance, like when you're shooting your rifle, especially long distance, you look at your natural respiratory pause. So you don't like I used to always tell people like when you're getting ready to shoot on the firing line, you don't take a big breath like you're trying to go swimming. You go and hold it because you're spreading out your diaphragm and all that stuff. You just breathe naturally, And at your natural respiratory pause, where at the top or the bottom, you just stop breathing. And I do the same thing. I think when it comes to like trigger control, like I focus on my trigger, my release. I put a lot of effort into it, and then just I knew what it took to get better at shooting guns and rifles. Uh, between holding steady, doing drills, focusing on certain things, I kind of brought that over to archery.
Yeah, I know
So,
one of the things that I used to do, in high school, I shot on a rifle team. We shot 22s. Now they won't allow them in high schools. They got to use air guns or something, pellet guns. But we shot 22s at school. And one of the things we'd do is, in prone, kneeling, or standing is the three positions we do. And, just in any position, like in the prone, you're laying down, you got your sling on the end, your hand wrapped around it. And what we would do is we'd breathe in with our eyes closed, breathe out, open our eyes, and see where our target's at. If we're not on our target, the only thing we're going to do is force it. So then we'd move our
yeah,
body
yep.
and until we could breathe in, breathe out on target. Next time, breathe in, breathe out, squeeze the trigger.
Find your natural point of aim.
Right. And you can do that in archery as well. Like if you're because they're all normally it's going to be standing or something. If we're doing target now, hunting, you're going to have to adapt a little bit different, but um, draw back, eyes closed, get your anchor point, open your eyes. Are you on target? No. Well, that's not your natural aiming point. That's where it's at. So let down, change your position, what you need to do. Don't do it while you're standing, at full draw. Do the same thing, eyes closed, open them up. And when you're on target, um, now then you can either go ahead and put pressure on the trigger and pull through, or let down and do it again. Open your eyes, you're there. Or do it with your eyes open, because that's what you're going to do when you're normally shooting. Eyes pull up there, and you should settle. Should be right where you want that to be in. Now you may have to move one of your feet forward, like the left or the right one forward or back or whatever, depending if you're shooting right or left-handed. You might have to slide your foot slightly forward or slightly back. A grip is real important in any shooting sport. Um, there's a lot of techniques in that, where you put your hand through, basically on the lifeline goes through there. That's how you're not going to hold your bow, but you'll be pushing with it. That's why you use slings or thumb slings or something.
Yeah, yeah. We did some CQB training when I was in California, and part of it was learning our natural point of aim. They paid a competitive three gun shooter to come out and teach some tactical shooting. And like they certified all the instructors, and then we helped teach classes for everybody else in the squadron. That was one of the drills we did was we set targets at 25 meters, a silhouette target. Look at your natural point of aim, and you can close your eyes and you can fire three shots in a second and a half and hold them within a dime at 25 yards, meters, if you have the right natural point of aim and your body position right. Like it was awesome to see and to work on.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing, pick up a pistol and some will be just fit in your hand perfectly. Same thing with a bow, fits your hand perfectly. And I would
Mm-hmm.
look at it, I'd look at the target, pull up, aim at the target, now look down at my sights and I'm right on. Now, if I get a Glock, I do that. Oh, I'm off by feet, you know, because it's so
Yeah,
so wide.
different.
The natural hand is not real wide to try and grip a great big fat grip. It's just relax, and that's what I do. Whether I'm shooting a handgun or shooting a bow, is however your natural hand relaxes, just bring it up, pull it up. That's your natural grip. If you move it or anything, now you have to move muscles. So just make a natural grip, and that's something I've converted over from shooting handguns and in many years of martial arts and everything else. And you know, I don't know if you've had any martial arts experience, but have you
Oh,
had any?
no, not. Yeah, I did a little bit growing up, and then I did some in the military, but
Yeah.
nothing
Well, and then
crazy or extensive.
one of the punches that they will teach is like a heel palm strike because you don't have to have any strong wrist or nothing, and it's a very strong point.
Hmm.
And that is the point that meets right between the meaty part of your little finger and your thumb, right at the base of the wrist. Turn your hand up and you push on that point. you have a lot of power in that point. You don't have to worry about, punching your knuckles and your wrist twisting. You hit with that, and that is a real strong. And I teach use that is what I'm using for pushing the bow out.
Mhm.
And I've even, even use it, if you want to relax while you're driving, put that part on both of your hands on the steering wheel, slight little pressure on it. You don't have to grip the steering wheel. You've got full control with just hands just kind of naturally relaxed around it. And just slight pressure on the steering wheel, you can do everything you need to do without gripping it, having that death grip on the steering wheel or the death grip on the bow. um, Death grip on a bow, when you go let down, chances are you have a good chance of derailing your string because you torqued it.
Oh yeah.
And same thing when no matter what you're shooting, if you're shooting a handgun and you got that death grip on there, you're not going to shoot very well because everything is tensed up.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that I learned, back in the well, I graduated high school in '73, so um, been a while. And that's like others. You've got to relax when you're shooting if you want to shoot high scores. And that don't matter what you're shooting. If you're shooting a recurve, a compound, a longbow,
You
um,
can't force it. That's the especially like with target archery, you start trying to force it, and it never turns out well.
no. Well, and one of the things I'll do sometimes with the a new archer is I'm going to have them. We're going to stand 5 feet from the backstop. Now we got a 4 foot square target normally, and we're going to stand, you know, 5 feet away from it. And I'm going to have you draw back and shoot with your eyes closed. What that's going to do is allow you to pick out which bow you like. And you can also feel your mind can see what your body's doing if
Mm.
you don't have your eyes open because the eyes confuse your mind because it's picking up other things. You can feel what's going on with the bow. You want to feel that surprise release. And then the other thing I'll do is to teach him what a surprise release feels like. Draw back, finger off the trigger, and it says, okay, you aim. And we're back, 10, 15 feet, back at a distance. And you aim, and it's like, I'm gonna pull the trigger. You don't know when. I'm gonna pull the trigger. So you aim, and I pull that trigger, and the hand explodes forward and it explodes back, and it just kind of that big explosion going off, and it's like, ooh, that was kind of interesting, how it feels like that is how it should feel every shot. If you don't, you're pulling the trigger. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
probably 95 to 99% of the time they hit the target they're aiming at because they took that one factor out thinking.
I've been out with people like you see a kid that or even an adult that's having a hard time like you stop punching the trigger. I'm not. Well, let me show you what it's supposed to feel like. They have them aim and slowly squeeze that trigger and watch their arm just blow backwards. Like that's what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah. I've seen some with the hand just kind of because they're not
Mhm.
really pulling through. And I've seen some
It's
people,
they're very static in their shot.
yeah, I've seen some where they shoot and then after the arrow's already in target, then the hand comes back. It's like it's
Yeah,
supposed to come
so
back. So they're
it's
not
funny.
really doing it.
Yeah, once you tell somebody like, "Oh, I can tell you're not pulling through because your hand goes here when it goes off. It should be coming back, catching the ball on your shoulder." And then so you'll see them next round a shoot and they'll go, think, think,
Yeah. No, I,
think.
I was talking to one guy when I was down at PSE, down at their dealer school. He shoots on their, what they called at that time their gorilla squad. They're shooting 90 pounds out of these new compound bows, which is massive amount of weight that you really don't need out of these new bows. But that's what they shot. And when his bow went off, he was a complete explosion. That hand come flying back. And he says one time this guy was watching him shoot. He didn't care. He was like, watch me all you want. Well, one time he got a little too close. That hand
Got it
back
now,
come
though.
back and smacked him in the head. It's like bam. Now he's been watching him. That hand comes back. Don't get in the way. And
Yeah,
when
no
I'm
kidding.
teaching, when they're at full draw, if I'm walking behind them, because I'm not gonna walk in front, I'll put my hand on their elbow. For one, it helps, let them know I'm back there because they know I'm because they're going on their side. But also, if they do shoot, that keeps that elbow from coming back and hitting me because I've stopped the elbow and go around and try them. And a lot of them will, their kind of shoulders kind of tilted forward, and I go up there and I just kind of pull his shoulders back, which if you lean forward and he puts the shoulders back, you feel the back muscles come into play.
Uh-huh.
Just try that. The shoulders come into play. And now just squeezing them together, that's going to work. And even if you take to kind of work those, um, recovering from a couple, some surgery. So take some elastic bands and you can pull them, use those back muscles. But I use them like when I'm doing an archery. I'll come back and I'll get to my anchor point and come back like shooting a recurve. I got a recurve I shoot as
Uh-huh.
well. I'll probably have to start with a recurve because I don't think I'm up to shooting my target bow cranked down to 60 yet. So hunting bow's 70. So it's
Hmm.
all set up to shoot 70. So I don't want to go any lower.
Yeah, I've been
So
there. I had shoulder surgery a couple years ago, so I know what it's like to try to rehab that.
yeah, it's been a while. It's been a challenge. April 11th of last year, I had a triple bypass,
Oh,
and then
dang.
the bone started healing. Then it quit, and then it just kind of opened up. So June 25th, I go back and put plates in, and everything was sore. And I'm just back where I'm recovered. Everything is all back to kind of normal. And then the guy decided he didn't want to slow down at all and hit me from the back.
Ooh,
I was turning, I was doing 29 miles an hour until he spun me around backwards, and now I'm doing 40 mile an hour backwards.
oh, dang.
He hit hard. I had a 93 Buick Century and it caved the bumper down into the rim,
Oof.
shoved the back seat up to the front seat. And yeah, so I'm still not quite recovered from that. That was quite a shock on my neck and my body.
Yeah, that's so.
And so I got these I'm trying to use. I started off, the weakest one is a yellow, next one is a blue, and then the hardest one is a yellow. And I can do the yellow, but the yellow is almost as strong as these two together. So just trying to draw just this one back is a little bit of strain. So
I've got
um,
a black one that's pretty because the VA wants to cut up my left shoulder. I don't want to let them do it, so I go to rehab instead. But they gave me a black. It's a tube. That one's the heavy duty one.
yeah, these I got from the one medical center. They sent me there to do the rehab because I'm closer to that hospital and they have a pretty good cardiac rehab, and that's what they had. And actually they gave me two sets, but I had comes a little bag with it. I can stick them in. I've never tried to put it back in since they come out of the plastic container, but uh, it's going to take a while. If I hunt this year, I'm probably going to have to. I think my son's still got a crossbow. It's actually his one old girlfriend's. I don't know if she has or he has it, but if I hunt this year, I'm probably going to have to use the crossbow because I don't know if I can pull that one yet. At 70 pounds, that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Seeing how it starts next month,
No,
I'm
we can
not even up
rifle
to.
hunt.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on my six.
Uh,
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a kick. I got a 180 grain bolt that I've worked up a load for,
that's what I
and
shoot out of my out six.
yeah,
Honestly, if you put a suppressor on them, like it, I got a 300 Weatherby with the suppressor kicks less than a 243. Like it's nice. I've got I guide antelope hunts, and so I take clients out and I carry a gun with me in case the client needs it or something happens.
yeah,
But I've got now, like I just make sure it's suppressed. It's so much nicer.
yeah. It doesn't quiet it down. It's not a silencer with it's silence, but
Yeah.
it helps that little bit there on
It
that
makes it
quiet it down.
hearing safe, and the amount of recoil it takes out of a round is, like I said, I got a 300 Weatherby, which is known to hurt, and with that suppressor on it, it's less than a 243.
Yeah, and that's a pretty light round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've been reloading since 76. I've had my reloading dice since then, and when I got this new rifle, I got the Browning X-Bolt, and I started working up a load. And for those that don't reload, you get all the components, you put the powder in, whatever powder you're going to use, and there's a book that we use, and here's a min and a max amount of powder you can put in there for that powder and that grain of bullet and everything else. And I always start right in the middle, and I'll take a half a grain. I'll load 3 rounds right at the middle, three more rounds, half a grain higher, half a grain lower, then a full grain higher, full grain lower. Depending on what the range is, that's generally what I do those five. So I've loaded, 15 rounds and then go to the range. And I went to indoor one here, it's 26 yards, and I shot all the different groups to see which one groups the best. And one of the loads, I put on the OT 6, I put three shots in the same hole with just about a millimeter um, extra mark. You could see three little marks. I was off by, you know, a millimeter is about all I was off, and it still looked like a round hole. And then I did the same thing for my 270, and you couldn't tell there was more than one shot in there. I was like, did I completely miss the paper? No, that was three shots in the same hole.
Nice.
But that's why you reload hand rifles. Now, at the price of all the stuff, reloading handguns is probably not worth it too much now because I'm not going to be that tight of groups with a handgun. I'm I don't shoot enough handguns to do that.
Yeah.
But rifles, I put a bag and actually I use my bag I carried all my stuff in with and set it on there, got a bench and just shot there and I was still hand holding it, just something to rest the front on. But that's
Yeah.
that's fun. Of course, shooting my bow is a lot of fun too. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
kind of interested to get
That's
back
what's
doing that.
nice. That's what I tell everybody. Like, oh, shooting rifles, it's cool. But I get my arrows back every shot for the most part. Like I can reuse them.
Yeah. Well, and I started off in the 60s shooting a fiberglass recurve and wooden arrows and feathers because the only vanes you could get is the rubber ones they put on fishing arrows, fiberglass
Huh.
arrows. And you can get aluminum arrows, that's it. Aluminum, wood, or fiberglass. And the rubber vanes you put on fishing arrows, which I never kept them on because they really didn't do any good. The string straightens it out anyway. And I don't shoot wooden arrows anymore, but I still shoot feathers.
I started with my aunt went to OSU back in 60s, maybe 70s, and she shot archery there. Either way, so she gave me her old recurve, and I've still got it. It's an old, I think it's a Pearson, like a little 25-pound recurve. And I used to shoot everything. That's what got me into it when I was a kid. And I didn't know better. My parents didn't know anything about archery really. Um, all my dad did, like he team roped a bunch. I team roped too, but so I'd go to Walmart every time I get allowance. I just buy those dollar metal arrows that Walmart sold.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know anything about matching weights or types or spine. I just go through and just, I had $5. I got five arrows,
Yeah.
and I'd go run around the pasture and chase jackrabbits with that recurve. And honestly, the first time I hit one, I thought I was hot shit. And then I saw that jackrabbit run away and that arrow was stuck in its butt, bouncing just, oh, I was mad. I was like, damn it, that's an arrow I lost.
Yeah. Well, field tips don't do real good at killing um, critters like that real
No,
quick.
no, but when you're 9, 10 years old and no one's ever told you anything different,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my first bow was a 25-pound Ben Pearson fiberglass bow. That was and I still have mine.
yeah, I've got mine too. Mine's wood laminate. It's not a fiberglass.
Yeah, Ben Pearson was pretty big, back in the 60s and 70s. That was kind of the bow that a lot of people started with. And, now there's so many different options,
Especially when you
include,
get like the trad bows. Like there's so many, there's guys and companies out there that hand make.
yeah,
There's some guys, I mean, it's artwork, some of the stuff that they build. Um, like I have one, it's a Great Plains out of Kansas. I've got one of it's called a long curve. It's a recurve bow, but it's a longbow grip. And it's a 54-pound bow. It shoots great.
yeah,
It's pretty. It's made of bamboo. And I can't remember what it is. It's in, there's a guy who's in man, I want to say it's Romania. It's some Eastern European country. Uh, Somehow or another, I became friends with him on Facebook. I met him in one of those archery groups. And this guy makes some of the most beautiful bows, and they're not that expensive. And he ships them to America. So I kind of want one, but I mean, they're gorgeous. And he inlays like the coins and the grips. I'll have to find them and send them to you. They're beautiful
Yeah,
bows.
yeah. I've talked to a couple of bowers on here, and some of them overseas, you know, they don't really know how well it's received over here, and it's like, well, hey, let's come on, we'll introduce you to to everybody, and some of them I've seen that make them, it's like you said, have been really cool looking
Oh, this
bows.
this guy does like I want to say they're reindeer tips on the ends of the bow. And they're like his bows are. I mean, they're artwork and they're beautiful. Like I said, I have that Great Plains. I shoot it, messing around. I don't get serious with it. Like, I don't take it to competitions or anything like that. It's kind of my disconnect because I shoot my recurve at foam. I'm just happy when it hits foam. I'm not chasing a 12 or I'm not chasing an X. It's just, hey, I hit foam. Sweet.
Yeah, yeah, that's I don't shoot enough of my recurve to, it's like, yeah, okay, let's just see if we can hit foam, and I've got a 4x4 foot target, and get back. It's like, as long as I hit the foam, that's good
Oh
for
yeah.
now. Now if my compound, it's a little different, but
Oh
I
yeah.
want
That's where the recurve comes in is because it is more relaxing because it's like a mental reset. Like I'm not so focused on, like I said, hitting a 12 on a 3D target. I'm just shooting, having fun, kind of going back to like the kid, just chasing rabbits. Like
yeah,
just,
yeah, I got a friend of mine, she's really good with a recurve, and I'm not near as, and I right now, if I could shoot my compound, I'd probably have to, I'd have a run for my money shooting against her with the recurve in my compound right now, because
huh,
I haven't been able to shoot it in, well, year and a
a
half
while.
plus. Yeah, because I kind of couldn't even pull it back. So yeah, I couldn't even pull it back. So I have a left-handed PSE 25-pound recurve. Um, when I had my short come in, it's supposed to be right-handed, and they sent in left-handed, and I had to make a string for it. But I might start off shooting that one left-handed, and then just working the muscles, because there's not a lot of difference between your muscle structure between right and left, because you're using the back muscles anyway. And then try and get out my, I think it's a 40 or 45-pound recurve right-handed, and then once I get to that, now if I can pull that back, I might be able to get my one compound set at 60, might be able to get it pulled back. Once it breaks over, then you're okay. It's that holding weight, it
Oh
drops
yeah.
down pretty good. It's just getting it to break over.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I know my hunting bow is going to be wild, because I really don't want to redo all my pins just to crank it down.
Yeah.
They, in fact, when I got some new arrows, they were quite a bit lighter. Dwayne was like, "Why is these so much lighter than the other ones?" And then I remembered, because PSE come out with their carbon arrows for a while. They don't do them anymore. They went back to just focus on bows, but they had their carbon arrows, and then they come out with the X Weave ones, which are a little bit better. But they had their shafts. They have, yeah, your comp pros, and then the next one's down, and then your lower end ones. That was a 1,000ths, I think, three and 6,000ths, and then they come out what they call the hunter shaft, which is 7,000ths. And I says, I'm going to order a set in just to see how well they group, because the less tolerance you have, the bigger your groups are. And I got them in, and so I set them up, and I can keep them in the white really good. As far as keeping them in the X, that's a little bit more of a challenge because the straightness is off. But when I replaced them with the normal spine ones. That PSC goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 being the heaviest, the spine one, and mine's supposed to be shooting the 300s. That's what they were tagged at. So then they were so much lighter, so I got some weight tubes, and I put the weight tubes in to get the weight the same, so I didn't have to readjust all my pins. Otherwise, I was going to have to move all my pins, set that top 20-yard pin and move all the rest of them. Back then, I had a program. I think it was Archer's Advantage. I think they still make it,
Yes.
but I need to get a newer version of it because my version, if I could find the software, was back um, 25 years ago.
It's a website now.
Yeah. So what the nice thing about that program is you set your 20-yard pin. So now you know where the 20-yard pin is. And then you enter into this at full draw. Where's the arrow to your peep height at full draw?
Mhm.
What's the difference between your peep and your pins? And what's the weight of the arrow? And are you shooting feathers or vanes? The weight of your tip, including its the total weight of the arrows, whatever it is, and then what's the speed. And I've got a chronograph I can fasten on a stabilizer, and it'll tell me the speed. Plug it all in, and then you can print a sight tape. It's like it tells you
Mhm.
here's your 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. And I just laid it down, put the 20 on the 20, set the 30, 40, 50, and 60, and went out the outdoor range, and it was dead on all those ranges. And one of the things that the program also did was said, okay, at 5 feet, what pen do I use? And I put that on my bow, so I knew. And it said use my 70-yard pin at 5 feet. Okay,
Nice.
everything else has been dead on, so why not? So I was at a 3D shooting, they were 3D, up on a platform. So I was up, was there 6 or 8 steps up? So we're up quite a bit. And they put a gator 5 feet from the stand. So now you're almost shooting straight down and a nice little angle. And I knew it was about 5 feet over to it from the base over. It's 5 feet. So I says, okay, 70 yard. So I come up, I'm leaning, 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 and I'm almost ready to fall over. I'm all the way down and I shoot, nail right where I wanted to go.
Nice.
And, and because it told me 5 feet, 70-yard pin, I shot it for 70 yards and nailed it. And I was like, why does that work? Well, when you think about arrow is here at your mouth, where's your pins? They're what, 3 inches, 3.5 inches, something like that above. So now your sights are here, but your arrow starts off down here. That's why archers will shoot their blind instead of through
Mhm.
the open window. They're going
Oh
to
yeah.
shoot through their blind because they don't realize that arrow is leaving, 3 or 4 inches lower. And you got to pay attention to that. And I was shooting in my basement doing some videos, and I got to make sure I aim up high enough because my target is sitting on a brick ledge.
Hmm.
It's one of those, the basement's kind of dug out, and then there's bricks around and kind of hold it up. And some of they just slap some concrete on the dirt, and it's 18 it was 1894 is when it, or yeah, 1894 is when it's built. So they didn't
Yeah.
have much for basements then. And I had to make sure because we're standing 10 feet maybe from the target. And if I shoot too low, that arrow hits the concrete block. What's that arrow going to do? Besides
Yeah.
destroying the shaft, it's going to come back at us. We're only
Oh
10
yeah.
feet away. So you always got to pay attention to those really close shots when you're in blinds, or shooting out of an elevated platform. Make sure your bow don't hit your stand, which happened to me one time. I'm drawing at the angle I was at. I was sitting down because I couldn't stand up because I was already sitting when it came in, and I'm shooting, and it's like my bow hit the side of my tree stand, and of course I missed. It was only like 10, 15 yard shot, and I missed it by 5 feet because the bottom limb stopped, which
Oh yeah.
all
I
kinds of things that you run into.
so yeah. There's a new program. I say new. It's been out for a couple of years. I use. It's called Precision Cut Archery. It's similar to what you're talking about. So I can make a sight tape, typically like 10 minutes for a target bow or hunting bow, it doesn't matter. But I just say measurement. I put it in a draw board. I measure from the center of the D loop, or sorry, the center of the peep to your pin on your sight. And then you measure from the carbon up to the peep. And you get your arrow weight, your arrow speed, and then you can either do two different speeds, like you can do your speed at 1 yard and then your speed at 60 yards, and I'll build the curve off that. Or you can do three sight markings, like you can get your sight, get your pin set for 20, get your pin set for 40, pin set for 60, and then you can measure with the micrometer, put it into the system, and hit go, and it'll kick out a sight tape. It works great. So, like, if I'm helping someone make a sight tape, it doesn't take me long at all to make one.
Yeah. Now, what was the name of that program?
Precision cut archery. Honestly, like for the price, I want to say it's like $30 a year.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, like I've created 6 or 7 people's sight tapes in it. Like I haven't found a limit yet if there is one of how many people you can use, but like I help kids. Like there's this girl that I kind of help coach. Um, she's 10. I made her a sight tape for 3D and made her sister one.
Yeah, I'm looking here for. I brought them up so we can do is we can actually, because we talked about them lots of times. I like to show what we're talking about for those that are watching. Now, if you're listening, that's kind of a bit different story. But let me go ahead and share that. And here's the Archer's Advantage we talked about. And oh, this is like $15 a year. Yeah, I'm going to like annual subscriptions now instead of just buying it. You know, if I could find the software, I don't know if it even run on the new Windows.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not, but I'd have to dig out one of the old computers and get it set up. Now here's the precision cut archery. Start a free trial. And then no, here's pricing. $3 a month, $36 a year.
Yeah.
And if you're doing many tapes, that's cheap for $36 a year for it.
Well, especially like I said, I've got 4 or 5 people I've helped make sight tapes for, and it's something like if, for instance, I just put new strings and cables on my target bow last week. So inevitably it's going to change up a little bit. So I'm probably going to have to make a new sight tape. So it's real easy to go in there, make a few corrections, and got a new sight tape made. Or
Yeah.
if I change arrows or I play with the arrow weight and change it up, it's real easy just to go fix it.
Yeah. Now, if I had this one or could get the other one started up again, and I just got if I do go down to 60 pounds or go with the lighter arrows, then, I could set the 20-yard pin, put the information in, and then it put out all the tape, and then I could go and it wouldn't be quite so much hassle. Then I just have to go out and verify that, the longer ranges. But right now, I just went through 2 weeks ago. They went in. There's a lot of roughness in my eye, and I go see it. I go see my pins when I go to look at them, like the red fiber optic pin. I was one I see the best. It had a black hole in the middle of it, so it looked like a donut, a red donut.
Huh.
And so they went through and basically cut a layer off my eye and then put a lens on it, and it healed back up, so it's a lot smoother. And yeah, if you've ever been to the eye doctor and they put that little thing on, have those little holes in it, with
Hmm.
the big view, it's like, yeah, I can't read it, and it's okay, put these holes on there. Look around, it's like, okay, oh, whoop, there it is. I can read the numbers. And before the surgery, said my right eye I could get to 20/30, and as close as I could see. And then after this one, now this has been 2 weeks now. Well, actually, tomorrow will be 2 weeks, but I seen her today and doing that, and it was like 20. I could read the 20/20 line. So now it's just a matter of going back to the eye doctor and having the right lens, actually new glasses, so I can see out of it because it's blurry now. It's.
Oh
But
yeah.
before I could never get it clear. It was always blurry. And then I can't shoot my bow when I can't see, that way, you know, before I wasn't going to be able to take much more than a 20-yard shot because I couldn't see my pins in a target good enough. Now I might be able to go out a little further back where I was before. I never did take a lot of long shots. My first year was 40 yards. And then I think I've taken a couple deer at 20, but the rest have been closer.
A couple of years ago, I shot my whitetail in Wyoming at 75. I wasn't
Yeah,
going to let him get away, so
now the second shot, that's a little different. The first shot, I had one. First shot was, I don't know, 10 feet, and it run out 30 yards away, stood broadside to me in a field, and it's like, I'm gonna shoot it again. It wasn't my first shot, it was my second shot, but then it run off and it kind of hit. If I'd have probably let it stand there, it probably just fell there. And but I can say
I'm,
I got arrows, so I'm gonna shoot them.
I don't know if I've ever actually taken a second shot on a deer with my bow. It's either I get them the first time or they disappear.
Yeah, that was the only time I shot the same deer more than once. I did have one time. It's kind of I'm sitting here on the tree stand, and it's the trail, which is, I don't know, probably 15, 20 yards away, and it's on top of the hill. So when I shoot, the arrow's going to go over the top of it when it goes through it. It come down for some reason. I don't know what I did, but I shot over it, and I heard that arrow smack a tree. Of course, the deer heard the tree get smacked as well. So it run, turned towards me, and run back, give me a closer shot. I didn't miss this
It's
time.
nice.
Yeah, out of that same tree stand is when I shot two deer within probably 2 minutes of each other. I'm at full draw at the one coming from my right and behind me. I shot that one and I watched it run off as I'm hearing a deer coming the other direction from my left towards me. And I turn on, get an arrow loaded, draw back, and shoot the next one. Watch it run off because I had to keep my eye out because they run different directions. So we had to go get the one and go. So we had two to pull out that night.
Hmm,
The only time I did that.
yeah. I've shot two. We were at a lease with me and my buddy. It was a Sunday evening. And we were sitting on some round bales. We were after hunting. We had some does come out probably 20 minutes for the last eagle shot. And I was using my Ot 6. It was probably like 200 yards, just boom. And all of a sudden, all these deer scattered from this little tree row. Just they're going everywhere. Like, oh shit! I thought we missed. And so my buddy's like, "Oh, there she is over there," and she's like 300 yards. All right, so line up, take another shot, watch her drop. Like, heck yeah. We go get the pickup, we drive out there. The first deer I shot was dead where she was. She was dropped and we didn't see her. So we had two does to, and it was dark. At the time, we were still processing our own. And so that was a long week trying to
Yeah,
hang up two does and skin them and process them and do all the grinding and everything else. So we made
yeah,
really
that can.
no more 2 deer weekends.
Yeah. Well, it's like me trying to do my moose. I got almost 500, I got over 500 pounds of meat and working and doing them in the evening. They're on ice, so they're not going to go bad, but they're on ice, and it took me about a week to get them all cut up. And I thought doing them yourself, those that haven't done them themselves, that's something you might, look into because one, how the meat was cared for. So it wasn't hung. I've gone to the butchers before, like before I really started doing it myself. And here's this deer hanging up, and the meat's green because it had already basically spoiled. It hanging up and all dried and hard, and that gets mixed into your meat because you're not guaranteed to get your own meat back. A lot of them say they do, but they don't. Um, and then
I'm
you get
pretty
it cut how you want it.
I'm pretty picky on like where I get my animals processed now. Um, there's two places here in Amarillo, well, in the Panhandle, and they guarantee you get your deer back. Uh, and I mean, it shows too, because you can tell when you shoot deer from certain areas. you can tell if it came from a different area. Um, so I'm very picky about if I have someone process an animal, where I go.
Justin, you started breaking up. Your video's going out too.
I've been burned too many times. A buddy of mine actually, he
Yeah.
took four bull elk quarters. I don't know what bull. Is this better, really?
Yeah, that's better. Not you were froze. Yeah,
That's
your
weird.
body wasn't moving or nothing.
So a buddy of mine, he took four bull elk quarters. I can't remember. I don't think he took the back strap in, but he took four bull elk quarters in there. Like, and it was I think it was a 300-inch bull. When he went and picked it up, he got back, I think, 70 pounds of meat, 60 pounds of meat. So
Yeah, that's quite a shrinkage.
that's a lot of shrinkage.
I know the one place I don't even know if they're open anymore, but two of my friends they both took in deer at the same time, and one was probably 40 pounds at least heavier than the other one, and they went to pick up the meat together. And they got the exact same amount of meat back.
That's
And so he said something. He said, "Oh, okay." He went back and grabbed some more meat, and that's also the same place that donates hundreds of pounds of meat a year. Well, how many hunters are going to take your thing in, pay the money to have it processed, and not pick it up?
yeah,
How do you get that much meat? You don't have that many hunters donating them for them to go donate to someplace. Yeah, you know they were shorting people to get
yeah.
that much, and
They call it the friend pinch. Like I never had elk before. Let me take a little pinch for a buddy. We'll take a little pinch for a buddy. And then all of a sudden, these guys are giving away 10 pounds of your meat, if not more.
yeah, that's the advantage of doing it yourself, and you can cut them up however you want. How's your family use it the best? Package in a number. If you're trying to feed, four kids and then the parents, you're going to need to have a pretty good sized package of steaks,
Hmm.
or hamburger. You may not want to do 1 pound. You might want to do 2 or 3 pounds. Um, if have a small family, just the two of you, well, maybe four small back straps is plenty. So you can package it how you want. If you want to have ground, you can do that. And if you want to make sausages or pepperoni sticks, we've got a butcher place here. We can get all the mixes that all those butcher houses use because it's a supply place. You can get all the commercial grade grinders and all that kind of stuff from them. And they have all the mixes to do whatever you want to have done, so you can do it yourself. And you know how it's treated. If you like the flavor a little bit stronger, a little bit mix a little bit more than you would normally. You don't want it so strong, make it a little bit lighter. And that's the advantage of doing it yourself. As well as, you know, you don't have to wait for it to come back.
Oh,
Yeah, you can go get it
yeah.
now.
Because some of those, like the places that are real good, I mean, they'll get busy where it may take 2, 3 months to get your meat back.
Yeah. And how long has it been sitting there? You know,
Well, luckily, the places that I do use, they have big walk-in coolers.
yeah,
So and they're both USDA inspected. So they're extremely clean. So I always warn people about the fly-by-night processors. The ones that are just there during deer season and
yeah,
don't really have a big like hanging freezer for your animals to go in.
yeah. Check them out and see. Now, what one of the things that my guy I used to hunt with all the time, we discovered by accident one time on cleaning the hide off. And we'd come out and it was got back to his house and it was really dirty. We drug it through some stuff and we just wanted to get all the blood and stuff off. So we hose it down, hose the skin down and everything. We we basically soaked it, and we hung it up by the back legs, and we went to start pulling, and it just pulled off so nice because that water gets between the skin and the meat.
Oh yeah.
That membrane gets really soft if you soak it. So that was kind of a tip that I bring up once in a while that
You ever use a
that made
golf
it
ball
so
or a
much.
rock?
What's that?
You ever use a golf ball or a rock?
Oh no, I've heard of people doing that, do that and fasten it and rip it off, but
Oh yeah. It's nice. I'm not gonna lie. Especially if you have like you and your buddy are both there and you got two pickups, tie the rope off to his and the deer off to yours, and just put that golf ball in the skin and just put pressure, and you can just have a little bit there with a knife that like you got to trim around the legs or something,
yeah.
or just a little sock them.
Yeah, he had a winch in his garage, so we just hit the button and raise it up, and it was
Mm-hmm.
electric one. So raise it up and hang it there, whatever height you want. By the time we get done, we get height off and start cutting it a little bit here and there. And next thing you got one leg quarter sitting there, and everything else is gone. And
But for me and my buddies, the antelope hunts that we got, we have one that goes in a receiver hip. A buddy of mine actually had it built. It's got an electric winch on it, and it's pretty damn tall. Like you got to get in the bed of the pickup to put it together. But man, it makes cleaning those antelopes so nice and easy.
yeah, that's the key to, even field dressing. A lot of times we'll try and find a tree and hoist part of it up in the tree, hoist the head up. And so everything kind of falls out instead of trying to dig in with your hands and pull it out. And
Mm.
yeah, you want to be as clean as you can when you're doing it. And in the field,
Oh,
it's a
for
little bit
sure.
difficult sometimes.
But in the panhandle of Texas, we don't have things called trees, so we don't get to hang anything up until we get back to camp.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of trees down there.
No.
You probably have to go out next to the Louisiana border to get much for trees. And that's too far to go to hang your deer.
Oh yeah.
So we haven't done a whole lot of talking about archery, but what are you doing? Do you do mostly target, or you do 3Ds, or
So I started off. I got into indoor probably about 8 years ago now, 9 years ago, and I was just doing my hunting bow. And then in 2021, I got my first target bow. I was mainly shooting five spots because here in Texas, we have a thing called Shoot Your Way Across Texas.
yeah,
Um, and it's like it starts in October, November, and it runs through our state shoot February, March. Um, you can go to as many shoots as you want throughout that time frame. They take your top three scores, and then you go to state and you shoot two more scores. Another award is shoot of the year, another award. They also give them awards for every one the state championship. So that's what got me into target archery. And then last year, a buddy of mine convinced me to give 3D a good shot, like ASA.
yeah,
And so I started shooting ASA last year. This is my second year doing it, and it's fun. This year I went to the Minden, Louisiana shoot. I went to Metropolis and got rained out, and I went to Coleman, Alabama. And then I like to tell people that us in the Panhandle were kind of on our own little island. So I didn't shoot any Texas ASA shoots because uh, honestly, like the closest Texas ASA shoot is Vernon, and it's 3 hours away. Then after that, I got Abilene 4 hours away. Then after that, I'm Dallas and South. So then I'm 6+ hours every weekend if I want to shoot. So I've been shooting all Oklahoma ASA. So last summer and this summer, I spent most weekends driving to Oklahoma. I'd drive up Friday evening, get a hotel room, shoot Saturday, come home. So Oklahoma's ASA program is the state director, Neil Cooley. Like he's done a fantastic job of growing up. Because prior to my time, when I've looked at the past results, and they went from 70 or 80 people showing up at state in Oklahoma to I think this year he had 250. So
Yeah.
ASA in Oklahoma is getting huge.
Yeah, there's I forget who it was now. Somebody else I was talking to on the podcast was doing the shoot across Texas, and that was kind of, so when you mentioned it, it's like, oh, okay, I kind of know what that is now.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, it's something to do in the wintertime. Keeps me shooting my bow year round between
Yeah,
indoor and then 3D, and then of course hunting season
yeah, it's
is
up here. There's not too much for outdoor during the winter time because it's just a little bit too cold.
yeah. Everybody, I tell people up in Texas, they're like, oh, it's always warm. I was like, last year I was goose hunting, it was negative 22, so I don't think it's always warm.
No, in fact, I was down by Austin. Um, I went down one year, I forget how many years ago it was, 3 or 4, and I'm going through snow. There's snow down there.
Those
And
people really they lose their mind down there. If they get snow and ice, they
yeah,
shut stuff down.
yeah. And it was kind of interesting because, being from Nebraska, I took my warm clothes because this was like February, I think it was. And it was surprisingly, cold down there. Well, part of the event was outside in a covered area. And so they're trying to hang up stuff on there and got big old heaters down there. And some people are going, and they're from South, so they didn't have anything warm. Yeah, and I was like, I got my big heavy coat with me, and yeah, so I was okay, because it's kind of the normal stuff we have around here, and uh, it's not unusual for us to have temperatures below zero, even 20 below sometimes.
Well,
And
I remember when I lived in Utah was one year that Las Vegas, they got a dusting of snow and they had no clue what to do. So they were diverting planes from Vegas to Salt Lake City. And we were having a borderline blizzard, but they were still able to land in Utah, but they couldn't land in Vegas. So all these people expecting to go to Vegas to party got off in Salt Lake City.
they didn't know how to take the snow and take care of the runways, did they?
Oh no, it was wild.
Yeah, you never know, when you go to some place that don't know how to handle water or rain or anything else like that or cold. And you know, does Texas have many snowplows?
We do,
Right?
yeah.
Because you get, if you're in an area where you get some snow, yeah, but a lot of places, when I was in Abilene, we got snow Christmas Eve. By 10 o'clock next morning, it was all gone. We didn't get much, maybe half inch, maybe,
This
but
year, uh, April 1st, we were supposed to have an ASA shoot in Borger, Texas. We had to reschedule it because April 1st, we got like 3 inches of snow.
yeah, on April, yeah. That's unusual. Even up here, we don't normally get too much snow, in
Yeah.
April, but we can. Oh, it's later than it used to be. We'd start getting snow about October, November, and it wouldn't go away till March or April.
Hmm.
Now there's times when we ain't gotten any snow hardly at all until, December, January, or February.
Yeah.
I used to start my garden up here, by end of March, April, my garden's in. Now you can't really get it started until later. So, um, global warming. No, it's just shifted a little.
Yeah. It's a cycle.
Yeah. And that's just normal. It's going to cycle around. It might, a few more years, it might come around. We get all this snow like we had been getting before when I was a kid. I can remember getting snow burying our cars.
Oh, yeah. I remember here in Amarillo for 2012. Yeah, it was like 2012. We got 17 inches of snow in 24 hours. It shut down. Like they couldn't keep up with snow plows
Yeah.
because we had the wind blowing too. So we had 8 foot drifts on the highway, 10 foot drifts.
Yeah.
I remember as
Uh,
a kid, I remember having a blizzard at Thanksgiving and wearing shorts at Christmas.
Yeah. You never know. I know there's one of the
No.
clubs here that when I was going to 3Ds all the time, they'd have one in February every year. Their first outdoor shoot was in February. And every time I shot it, it's t-shirt weather. By the afternoon, you're in t-shirts. You know, have to put a little light jacket on. And that's in February in Nebraska. That's unheard of. But it seemed like every time they scheduled one, it was an extra warm day for their shoot.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, all the other ones, after that, you never know. I've been at shoots where in the 90s pretty much all day long. And, of course, they have a lot of water out there. And I've got a big pouch on my 3D rig that's pretty thick. And I'd take one of these bottles like this and I'd have it froze.
Mhm.
Going to it, I knew it'd be hot, so I'd have it all froze. It'd be just a chunk of ice, and you drink a little bit out of it, and then keep filling it up, and drink a little bit more, and fill it up, and the ice would pretty much last the whole shoot because I'm putting cold water in it, and that way you always had nice cold water to drink while you're out there, and um, because I do drink a lot of water, so
I do too.
yeah, stay hydrated, especially in the heat.
Oh, oh yeah. Look, this year, the Oklahoma State shoot, it was. I looked at the Weather Channel. We were done shooting, and it said that it felt like 109 out there between the heat and the humidity. Like it was pretty bad. I don't. Sometimes I just feel like you can't drink enough water to keep up.
No, you can't. You almost need a grip a Camelback and
Hmm.
you take a sip and then you breathe out and take another sip constantly. About every time you take a sip, every time you take a couple steps, take another
Just
sip.
give yourself an IV and walk around, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, that's what you do in the hot weather like that. Because last thing you want to do is get overheated
Oh
and get
yeah,
out of the
it's
shade.
like.
Sometimes make sure you wear a hat that keeps it off top of your head.
Mhm.
Um, I normally wear a hat all the time. The lights bother my eyes, but I didn't put it on right now today. But my ring light is actually pointing a little bit up today. As long as I don't look up, I'm okay. But yeah,
Yeah.
keep covered and a lot of times say, well, I don't want to wear long sleeve shirts. Well, what happens is your arm will burn.
I wear long sleeve shirts. Like all my jerseys are long sleeve, and people are like, "How the hell are you out here wearing a sweater?" Like it's not a sweater; it's pretty thin material, but like I sweat, and then the air blows through it. It's like a built-in air conditioning.
Yeah. Well, some of the
But
materials they have nowadays are real good about that.
oh yeah, like those Magellan shirts, and I think my jerseys are from Sublime. I think that's where they're from. They're pretty thin material. Like they breathe good. But I grew up working on ranches and wheat pasture. Like we were out sweating our ass off, and everybody wore button-up regular shirts, long sleeve every day. So I mean, you definitely stay. I think you stay cooler outdoors than wearing like a short sleeve shirt.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive, but the when you actually have the sun on your skin, it heats it up. Where if it's not hitting
Hmm.
it, you don't get that act there. It's just
It's like when I was in Saudi Arabia, we called them TCNs, third country nationals. So they were basically people that they wanted to come to Saudi Arabia from other third world country, and Saudi would pay them or give them citizenship, or the American government did. But they came and they worked, and they would do stuff all over our base. And one of the things they would do, they swept the roads by hand. Like they get the rocks off the asphalt, like they go out there and sweep it. But every one of them wore long black pants, long sleeve shirt, gloves, and of course they had their whole headdress on the whole time. Everyone's like, how are they not dying? It's like the sun's never on their skin, but any sweat they get is that air, that wind blows through it, it cools it off. It's like a built-in swamp cooler.
yeah, that's swamp coolers are kind of no fun.
Huh.
That's what they had in the barracks when I was down in Abilene, and if it could mold, it molded. It
Oh yeah.
mold grew on everything. It was just so humid in there, and because them swamp coolers, full of cool air, but it's the humidity level is so high, and down there in Texas, as you know, it gets hot and everything is wet. And it just, I
So
had, anything leather molded.
and really, we're not human normally. We're normally really dry. We're kind of just I tell you, it's like a popcorn fart, just real dry and disappointing.
Yeah, Abilene was pretty humid. And this now it wasn't too much outside. It was in the barracks it was, but that's what you go through.
Oh
When you're in
yeah.
the military, you go where they tell you to go, and you sleep where they tell you to sleep, and um, the chow halls are open a certain time, and you go eat.
Hmm.
And you're working 24/7 because they can call you anytime.
Oh yeah. You belong to them.
Yep. And when they have alerts, I was always on the second shift because lots of times just the little alerts that just practice things, and I was always on the second one, which would have been the night shift because most of them didn't go that long. And the reason I was always on that because the guy who did all the scheduling, he'd come into my graphics shop and want a piece of chartboard or something. I'd give it to him. We weren't supposed to, but I'd whatever he wanted, I'd give it to him, and he'd do it. So I always got on the second one. One time I did have to walk around planes all night long, but one time out of all the alerts, otherwise, like, oh, it's over. Oh, good. My shift wouldn't have started for another hour or 2 hours or
Nice.
something. But I didn't care. I didn't know what he was doing with it. I didn't care what he was doing with it, and he got what he wanted, and I had it easier. Yeah, I remember the first time they come through. There's Rico, Rico. I thought they're saying Rico. It's like, who's that? And I said Recall. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I it's like, what's he talking about? And then he finally says, oh yeah, you're supposed to go into work and don't put your uniform on. You mean I got to try and find my civvies? Because my uniform was the closest thing. We wore fatigues at work, so it was, Joe's stuff on is right there.
Oh yeah. I used to hate getting woken up. Like we'd get off shift and get back and be asleep for maybe an hour, 2 hours, and they'd come in and wake us up like uh laundry analysis. Everybody in the barracks needs to go take a pee in a cup. I'm like, seriously, you could have like caught us coming off shift. Like you gotta let us barely fall asleep, wake us up to go do it. It's never as easy as like, all right, pee and go. It's everybody line up, everybody listen to safety brief, everybody get in line, take your turn. It's like a 2 hour ordeal. Then you finally get back to your room, try to go back to sleep and wake up in like 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, I didn't have to go through any of that when I was there, but it kind of depends on what your job is too.
Yeah.
Yeah, our office is above the base commander, so we had to make sure we didn't bang too much on our floor.
Yeah. They caught me one time. We were so when you worked we worked with the 8 hour shifts. They had day swings and mid. Swings were like 2 to 10. And so we did three swings and then three mid shifts. And so between your last swing shift and your first mid's a 24-hour break. So we always stayed up drinking until 6 in the morning, and we'd go to sleep so that way we could get our sleep schedule for the mids. That's what we told ourselves. There's one time they showed up. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we were drinking. They were like, "You have to go pee in the cup," and they took us over to the base movie theater. And I was like, "I gotta go. Like, I gotta pee pretty bad." And so the ladies, they always ask the dumbest questions. We're like, "All right, are we gonna find anything in your pee? Like anybody's gonna come clean?" I was like, "Yeah, you're gonna find a whole bunch of Coors Light. Like I need to go to the bathroom right now." And she didn't like that very much.
Yeah. Well, nothing said you couldn't have a drink of alcohol.
No, no, no.
As long as she didn't come in drunk to work, that's,
Oh
intoxicated
yeah,
to
no.
work.
Oh yeah. But it was more than 8 hours prior because she had to quit drinking 8 hours prior. So
Yeah, I remember those rotating shifts when they sent me to security police squadron. You've got 1 week days, mid, 1 week of each and mids, and then go back to days, mids,
So
yeah,
we were
it's
just so day shift was just day shift, and then the other like there was flights. So it's A, B, C, and D. A, B, and C flight. No, A, B, C, and D. A, B, C, D flight. A shift was always days. B, C, and D flights were always swings and mids. So, when B shift would be on swings, C flight would be on mids, and D flight would be on, and they'd rotate. They'd go D to swings, B to mids, C off. We
yeah,
went
at
to
least you,
6 and 3, so it was 6 days on, 3 days off.
yeah, that's a little bit easier. You can get used to those other shifts, but you know, when they was doing it to us, it's like you're on days this week, mids, swings, days, mid, swings. You never could get a good sleep pattern because there wasn't a time that you could sleep during any of them.
Yeah, that's what sucked too. Is like when you finally get your 3 days off after mids, you sleep most of the first day off.
Yeah,
So it's but fun times.
yeah. Well, you never know. When we're military, we may need to go to war at any time, and there you go, and you're off. And so I never could do rotating shifts, and that's why after I got out of there and didn't have to do that, it's like, yeah, no, if I'm going to be on um, mids or swings, yeah, it's going to be constantly. So at least you can try and get used to one.
Oh yeah.
I used to work the third shift, and then I'd get off and I'd go. That's when I was competitively roller skating, and I'd get off work and I'd go. About 2 hours later, and the practice started. So I'd do the practice and go home and sleep, and then get up and um, next night, same thing. But that was fun, interesting.
Well, fun times.
Yeah,
Stories.
it's just everything you do is always something challenging, and archery is if I'm going to go hunt, like deer, I prefer to use my bow. I
Oh,
think
I
it's
do.
just more fun.
That's what really got me into archery was after the military. I think I added it up one time, and on average, I shot it was like 20,000 rounds a year between all the different guns I had to shoot. It was so stupid. And then between teaching classes and going over techniques, eventually got to where rifle hunting, deer walks out 300 400 yards, shoot him, okay, let's go load him up and go home. It lost the thrill or the excitement that it seemed like it more of a job than it was fun being out there. And I'd always archery hunted as well. I kind of got into it when I was in the military. And I just used it as to extend my season. So when I started to lose interest in the rifle, I was like, oh, screw it. I'm just going to go straight. So like all I'm going to do is archery hunt. Like that's it. And it definitely brought the fire back. A lot of the excitement, um, a lot of heartache too, because you can see the deer and can't get a shot at it. You can see him walk away. Like, yeah, but if I had a rifle, I could kill him. But it's fun. I enjoy it. Uh, I went to Africa, South Africa, a couple of years ago, and I just took a bow. I spent 10 days over there just hunting with the bow. And honestly, I'm going back, not this year, but I'm going back September next year, do it all over again. So it's fun. Uh, like I used to tell people, I take more pictures with my phone, archery hunting than anything else, because you know I've killed a lot of whitetail deer in my life, And I'm not trying to brag by any means. I know there's people that killed a lot more than me, but it's I'm not out there just to kill everyone I see. I don't have that itch just to try to like demolish the population. So if I shoot a buck, I'm picky about what I'm going to shoot. I will shoot 1 to 2 doe every year just to eat because I do like deer meat.
Yeah.
But like the amount of times I sit in the blind and take pictures of like young bucks walking by me, like I think it's fun. Like I've had a deer like 3 yards away from me just feeding. I kind of like reach over and take a picture of him, and it, it's nice being out in nature. But
Yeah. Like I said, we don't have to kill an animal every time we go out. Um, it, when your freezer's empty, it'd be nice because, I go out, I want the meat. I'm not going to go out and say, well, um, I'm not going to shoot anything except the buck. Well, actually, I have done that. When in Nebraska, you only had 2 tags. That's all you could use was 2 tags. And we started September 15th. So I get 2 archery tags because they're always either sex and they're all statewide. And I'd go out and first chance, first deer that give me a shot, I'd shoot it. Generally, it was a doe. And then I would hunt bucks only until December. Now the rut's in November here up here. And then in December, then whatever come by, I'd shoot it. If it was a doe or a buck, I'd shoot another doe because I didn't want to not fill my tag just because I was picky when I wanted to shoot. And I'm hunting public property anyway, so um, I would fill it with whichever come by. And, you know, if I had a chance for a buck, well, yeah, I'd take it. I wouldn't pass it up because, I just only want does. Or I wouldn't pass up a doe just because like I only want bucks. I'd do that for, you know, part of the season, that November, September, October, I go there and November is our season. But if a nice deer come by, I sometimes I took it anyway. But generally there for you know, time during the rut, the more bucks are going to come out during that time. Now, for a long time in Nebraska, during the rut, the 9 days where the rut's the strongest, archery shut down. So
really,
the best time was like the week before the first week in November. So we started like the second week. First week in November, you want to be out there with your bow because that's when they're starting to get active, and that's when you're going to get more of the bucks. And then after the rut is over, then you're kind of hunting around until like December when the second rut comes in, which is a small one. And so you just got to figure out what you want. And I wanted meat in the freezer, so I don't hunt racks because like they don't taste good.
I haven't done it all. Like I've definitely trophy hunted, but that's I'm very conservative on what I'm going to shoot. Like I think it would management mind because, to be honest, most of the places I hunt are private property, so I don't want to go out and wipe out all the young bucks and then they have no potential for a few years. Well, you want to manage the property the best you can.
Yeah, and I didn't, once I got going, I didn't shoot the little bucks. I had one time was out private property, and this perfect 8 point come by and was standing within shooting range of me. And I'm looking at this thing and it's skinny, but it doesn't look like it's, ill or anything. It had a small rack going from about maybe half inch to the biggest tine was maybe 2 or 3 inches big. So it was too small. I wasn't going to shoot it because I didn't need to shoot that one because it wasn't sick. Now, if it had been something wrong with it, then I'd have probably went ahead and shot,
Oh yeah,
like it's
put it out of its
deformed or
misery.
something. Yeah, but it wasn't there. And then for the longest time, I got to give my hunting partner, um, you know, razz him a little bit because he got done, he's ready to come walking up, and he chased this deer off. And then that's also the same tree that he shot a deer. It come running past my tree stand and head butted the tree. mid-stride, it died and just run into the tree and fell over. We didn't have to track it anymore because it was sitting probably 15 feet or 20 feet away from my tree.
Nice. Makes life
So
easy, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. I had one other time, like I was with when I was in public property. He shot this deer and it run out. And there's a dump station for the campers when they're camping season,
Mhm.
and it died 5 feet from the blacktop.
Huh.
So he pulled up where you go for a dump, and it was able to just load it right up.
I've heard stories about people like shooting elk and they roll down, stop on the road. They just drive their truck and load up the full elk right there. I can't even get whitetail to drop close to a road. I always have to drag them somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it's been a few times, but there's been times we had to drag him quite a ways. So
I shot a blacktail when I was in California because we were allowed to hunt on base. And we started up like way up top and kind of hiked down in a canyon and shot him. And we still drug this damn thing. I think it was like 3 miles. We drove to the base campgrounds and I called my supervisor. I was like, hey, go to the campgrounds and pick me up because my truck was up top. So he came down and picked us up. We threw the deer in the bed of his truck and we went and got my pickup. Then I went checked in because in California, you have to check every animal in a fishing game. But yeah, that was a horrible drag.
yeah, I can imagine. You know, we haven't had to drag that far, but it seemed like it was a ways. Nice thing, once we get down off of the little hill, we could drive up to the base of the hill to the
Um,
field as long as the crops weren't out. But generally, by the time archery season comes around, the crops are gone.
yeah, the downside is on base for this instance, you couldn't quarter them out. You had to bring them in the whole. Like you could gut them, and then you had to bring in the carcass whole so they could do a blood test and verify everything. So you couldn't try to quarter it and pack it out.
Yeah, I know that for quite a while here in Nebraska, you had your paper tag that you had to tag every deer, and then um, during rifle season you didn't have, but just a few days to get them checked in. And archery, you expect to check them in to a check station. I was a check station for a while, and they come in and you fill the thing out, and I was like when it's is an adult or fawn, and it's an adult it goes like, no, this is a fawn. You know, nothing wrong with shooting a fawn. If you shot a fawn, that's and they don't care
Not in
what you shot.
Texas.
You know, it they now there might be shooting the fawns. You know, the tags may be specific for that, but ours were it was considered antlerless if the antlers were basically below the ears because you can't always tell if they're below the ears. So during the antler season, if you have a buck that has short ones, or you shoot one and it's got little button bucks, and for the longest time I had no clue how to tell if it was an adult or fawn, because by the time hunt season's around, none of them have spots, and
Mhm.
they're just different sizes until I used to watch a lot of hunting shows, and one of them made a mistake, actually taught something,
Hmm.
and and ever since then I can tell if it's an adult or fawn because you look the nose to the back of the head. Where's the eyes? If it's halfway up, it's a fawn. If the nose is longer, from the eyes to the nose is longer, and it's an adult. But okay, now I can tell because I couldn't figure them out. Which was which, and it's like you don't have any reference, and nobody's taught you anything. Because when I first started bow hunting, as me and my buddy, and it's like we didn't know anything about it. We're lucky when we started out. It was a good day if we seen prints in the dirt. That's where we started. Was oh, there are deer in the area. I see a footprint.
So Texas, if you shoot anything in the spots in Texas, you're in trouble.
well,
That's a big no no.
well, so,
And then antlerless, if anything breaks the skin, like a little button buck, that's considered a buck in Texas. It's antlered. unless it can't break the skin.
Yeah, I shot one time and I thought it was a doe, and then here's this little lump, still with hair on it, hadn't even broke through the skin yet. And you know, because when you're archery hunting, generally you're pretty close, at least around here.
Hmm.
You're close enough that generally you can see because their heads are moving around and stuff. You can see, and even if I got an antlerless tag and I see antlers at all, I'm not going to shoot it because I'm not going to take a chance. That means it's a small buck, and just because it might be a spike doesn't mean in
Hmm.
5 years it's not going to have a great rack on it.
Oh, for sure.
That's just how it starts out. And I seen a video where the guy studied different deer starting out the first year, what the racks looked like. Some of them were just spikes, some of them are, had full, really, really nice racks,
Oh,
just
I think
small.
I saw the same one.
Yeah, 5 years later, you couldn't tell which one started out just as a spike. So just because it's spiked doesn't mean it's not going to turn into a good deer.
Yeah, what was the old wives' tale? Once a fork and horn, always a fork and horn.
Yeah, he proved it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
remember which video it was, but that was pretty interesting.
when I was in California on the blacktail on days, like I saw some massive deer that were just fork and horn, so two by twos. Like I'm talking
Yeah,
like 27, 28 inches wide and just tall, but they were just one fork. It
kind of like a
was pretty cool.
muley.
Yeah, it's a blacktail is a subspecies of mule deer.
Yeah, there's so many different things to hunt, depending on which area you're in. From turkeys to ducks and pheasants and quail and rabbits and squirrels and of
Which
course
this
deer
year,
and
so the state of Texas are trying something new this year.
oh
So
yeah,
typically in the past, you can because we have mule deer and whitetail both here in the Panhandle. So in the past mule deer season, you could archery hunt the same as whitetail archery. Then the day archery season ended, you couldn't hunt mule deer again until the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and then the season ran for 2 weeks for rifle. Well, now they've changed it, so if you're willing to archery hunt mule deer, you can go from opening day of archery season all the way until the last day of mule deer rifle season. So now we have all of October and all of November to archery hunt mule deer in Texas
oh that's
because
cool, pretty good.
our tags are species specific. So we have mule deer tags and whitetail, but there's only outside of like an NLD tag, there's only one or two times in Texas that you can shoot a mule deer doe. I think they're far West Texas. Like around here, it's only you only get to shoot one buck.
Do they not have a real big population of them yet, or
No. So at one point, I don't know if it's changed or not, but at one point, the mule deer was one of the only game species in North America on a decline in the last like 30 years. Because elk numbers were coming up, whitetail numbers, of course, those things spread like rabbits.
right?
Everything else was going up except the mule deer, which you would never think it, because mule deer are huge,
Yeah.
but a mule deer is very timid. So I had a deer lease with both of them on it, and the whitetail actually ran the mule deer off because the whitetail are more aggressive than the mule deer.
Well, and around here, on mule deer, you can't pattern them because they just kind of randomly go all over you. So you have to
Oh
kind of
yeah, they're
go find them and then track them. And whitetail's kind of a habit. You can just pick a spot
oh
and wait
big
for them to
time.
come.
Yeah, whitetails will take the way only way you can pattern a mule deer is what field they like to go to, but there's no telling which way they're going to come into that field the next day.
Yeah. Well, we had quite the interesting conversation all over the place, which
Oh,
is
for
cool.
sure.
I like that. Something different. Each podcast is different, and I know those have been watching this long or listening this long as we really appreciate you listening to us. And if you have any questions about anything we talked about, hey, leave us a comment, and I'll leave a description, a link in the description for the Archer's Advantage and the Precision Cut Archery. Uh, so if you're interested in that, to make it easier, if I'll leave a description in the description, the links to it, and make it a little easier for you to find it. And remember, uh, you can watch the podcast on my YouTube channel, Learn to Fix It Yourself, or you can go out to Arch Talk 101 Facebook group. That's not a good place to do it. The group's real good about to providing value. We don't sell anything in there, so you don't have to worry about being sold to. And if we do, somebody does that, they get thrown out of the group and deleted. But it's all content. If you know of an archery shoot, you're welcome to post information about an archery shoot, and just keep information going. I'm always here to help you with any questions. Just let me know. And you can also listen to the podcast on Audible or wherever you get your podcast from. And it's a good place to go. And I also have archtalk101.com. I'm building that out right now. But the thing there is this podcast. So if anybody has a podcast, I've got a whole page just for podcasts. Just let me know, and we'll get you on here. We'll talk about your podcast and promote it and put you out there too. So it's been uh, a whole lot of fun talking to Justin today. Um, what would you like to say to our audience? Encourage them, or anything you want to promote or talk about? Just kind of
No,
take us out of the call.
man, I'm always about promoting archery, getting people into it. I want people to have a good experience, and I want people to enjoy it. So, like, my biggest deal is like I'm all about getting people in a bow shop, letting them try some bows, and my biggest deal is the people that are experienced, that have the experience. If you know someone's getting into it, try to help them and try to help them have the good experience so that they want to keep coming back. Don't don't sit and laugh at them and discourage them. Encourage, not discourage. Make them enjoy the sport, because if we don't keep promoting it and keep getting others into it, eventually it's going to kind of die off. They always talk about the old timers gatekeeping things. They don't want to give up, and they don't want to encourage other people. They want to keep it for themselves, and we have to get out of that mentality. Like, we need to step out of our bounds and be helpful to everybody. And if you see someone on social media asking for help, say, hey, this is what I saw. Don't don't come off as an ass. Don't be like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. You know, try to be as professional as you can. Try to help them out. And especially if, like, for me, instantly, example, like, I shoot for Dart Archery. Like, I'm one of their sponsor shooters. No means pro by no means, but like, I want to promote that brand, but I also want to promote archery. So if I go out and I see someone having a hard time on social media, and I start belittling them over their form, over the bow they shoot, like, it doesn't look good on darting, but it also doesn't look good on the sport in general, and it's not going to make that person want to keep trying. So that's probably my biggest goal, is let people enjoy the sport, help them, show them the reasons we love it, and help them grow with it as well.
Yeah, some good points. And one of the things that the Arch Talk 101 Facebook group offers is, if you're having trouble with your form or something, have somebody take a video on your phone and upload it to the group. We'll take a look at it and give you some pointers. Um, you know, and also, not just us that are instructors and have been shooting for a while. We're gonna help you, but I'm not gonna go up to you and say, hey, you're doing this wrong, do this. But if you come up to me and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this. What am I doing wrong?" Because I wear my instructor patch on my 3D rig. So if I'm at a tournament or something, yeah, it's right there, my instructor patch on there. So that's kind of my invitation. It's like, ask me. If you're struggling, as an archer, if you're struggling, it's also your responsibility. If you're struggling, ask somebody, because the archery community is going to help you. You might find that one or two out of a hundred that is too busy, that don't want to help you, it's probably because they're in the middle of something that they can't get away from. But just ask. We're all good. We're all here to help you. And if you have any questions on setting your bow up or anything, ask somebody. Because I know, Justin, if somebody asks you something, you're going to help them. I'm going to help them.
Oh,
So
for
get a hold of
sure.
us. I'm not hard to find. You can search me. If you're on my YouTube channel, Learn to Fix It Yourself. Hey, make it comments. Hey, I'm struggling with this, and you know, and if I don't get back right away, it's because I don't always get to all my comments. But get a hold of me. Go wherever you want, and eventually get out to the Facebook group and go from there. And if you see somebody struggling, say, hey, go out there. They'll help you. And that's what we enjoy doing. And kind of one of the reasons why I do this podcast is I like talking to archers, but also to get the word out there that, hey, if you're struggling, we're here to help. That's why I named it Archer Talk 101. Because what's the first thing you take in a class? It's normally the 101 class, which is beginner's class. And, that's, also your guide to better archery is the other tagline I have up this side. It's backwards for me. I'm looking at this on my right, but I got pointing to my left because it's reversed. But yeah, there's all just there to help archers, and that's what we do. And if you've been listening this long, make sure you get a hold of us. And if there's something that you want us to cover on a future podcast, let me know, because we can also get into instruction on here. If you're struggling with something, want to be a guest on the podcast, and we'll go over your problems live, we can do that. So that's our podcast for today. It's been a lot of fun talking with Justin today, and um, always get into different subjects, and that's the fun part of this. And we'll definitely catch you on the next one. My name is Rory
Absolutely.
Canterbury, and I've been your host today on Arch Talk 101. And Justin, it was great talking with you, and we'll talk again later.
Thanks, Sean. It was a good time.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.